I live my life in the most sustainable way possible. With food, with the products that I put on my skin, with the products that I wear as clothing, sustainability is the most important aspect of my life. So when it came to thinking about my wedding dress, of course I had to think about how can I do it in a way that is truly honoring what already exists. I know my mom has her wedding dress. I called her up and I said, hey, I really want to use your wedding dress. And she's like, oh great, that sounds amazing. But I kind of want to cut it up and use it for something new. And I could hear the little tinge in her voice, just kind of oh really? But she was down, she found her dress in this closet. It was all the way in Colombia and she had it brought over. So I wanted to find a designer. I started asking around and they connected me with Bo.
Liz and I had a lot of conversations about why should your values stop at your wedding dress. I've always considered myself a steward of the earth, and when I saw that the apparel industry is something like the second most polluting industry behind oil, it really got me thinking about different ways of doing things. We can just take elements from it. It's not gonna make sense to try to use every little scrap, but what we can do is we can get you an upcycled silk organza, and then we can take pieces from both dresses and use the trims.
When I was thinking about this dress, I wanted to really marry the two cultures, from my Latin American culture from Colombia and my new Filipino culture. In the Philippines, they have these big, beautiful sleeves that's a part of their traditional clothing. The rest of the dress really just intuitively happened. So sustainability and shopping ethically for clothing is so important because there's so many different aspects to think about. Are people getting paid fair living wages? Are the materials that are being used sustainable? Are they new? Are they recycled? So when I was gonna work on this dress with Bo, I didn't know where we were gonna source the recycled materials from, but I knew that we were gonna have to use something new because we weren't gonna be able to use the entire dress. So luckily, Bo is an expert in this and he knows exactly where to get all the materials. So we basically went to stores that had dead stock material from designers that had just bought so much of it that typically it would have ended up in a landfill. But because of people like Bo creating that demand for these dead stock materials, stores now carry them.
We're gonna first go to the Goodwill, and if we can't find that, then we're gonna go to the Buffalo Exchange. I had a lot of people helping me here. At Bohm Studio, there's about 25 of us. Arne and I spent all of last year making custom gowns for Meryl Streep and Nicole Kidman. That's how we met. And so making this wedding dress for Liz was a fun extension of the gowns we were making all last year. A muslin is just an iteration of a rough idea that we've cut and sewn into a dress that we can play with and put on and change with shapes and silhouettes. And we went through about 2 muslins to get to the right proportions and shape before we finally landed on the perfect dress for Liz. The materials that Liz and I decided to land on for the final completion of her dress is a upcycled cotton piqué, upcycled polyester chiffon, and then we used the trims and embellishments and the appliques from the dresses that were handed down to her. This dress also includes boning and horsehair for volume, and there's about 5 layers or tiers on the bottom portion, and there's a 2-tier in the sleeves of the dress.
For my accessories for the wedding dress, I put out a little ask on Instagram and started texting friends, and I'm okay with borrowing things. We need to be okay with that. We need to normalize borrowing. Why does everything have to belong to me in my own closet?
You get an emotional reaction to a bridal dress that is correct when the bride-to-be is wearing it and you know that it's right. And I felt that way when I saw Liz in her dress.
The reason why I really wanted to do this was because I wanted to show people that you can make something exciting and inspire people to think outside of the box when they're thinking about a special day like a wedding day. Think about how you can reuse something. Think about how you might be able to borrow things or just make those extra calls to action. I hope that living this way inspires you to do something similar.